From Atal Bihari Vajpayee to Manmohan Singh to Narendra Modi, he's seen the world change right in front of him.
Undoubtedly one of the most influential politicians of the world. He's a very compelling and enigmatic figure on the world stage.
The President of the Russian Federation for you. You spoke about strategic autonomy, which is what India has been talking about. Strategic autonomy, decide for India's interests. But has India reduced Russian intake of oil after pressure from the West?
So you're just telling us that in your recent meeting with Mr. Witkoff, it was offered to you that you could make it back to G8 and you categorically said that you are not interested. When you met Prime Minister Narendra Modi in SCO, and there was this picture and video of you and him going in a car, and we're showing it to our viewers right now. You were traveling in a car with him. What did you discuss in the car?
Do you want to go back to being a part of the G8? Because that's a lot, there are a lot of reports on that. So is that something that Russia is looking at?
Dear viewers, hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching Aaj Tak India Today and I'm Anjana Om Kashyap and we're at Kremlin today and you're about to witness history, a very historic moment. It is said that when two old friends meet, they have their private jokes. They have a lot of banter, they have a lot of fun, and they have a bonhomie or camaraderie. But the others in the room might feel a little uncomfortable. And why do I say this? I say this because as the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi, the world will be watching very, very closely. Vladimir Putin is undoubtedly one of the most influential politicians of the world whose decisions don't just affect Russia, but numerous nations across the world. He's a very compelling and enigmatic figure on the world stage. It just doesn't get more exciting than this.
Well, that's right, Anjana. Hello and welcome. I'm Geeta Mohan. We have with us a man who is known to be one of the world's longest serving leaders. He's seen it all, through wars and economic recessions, from disintegration of countries to a changed world order, from Boris Yeltsin to Donald Trump, from Atal Bihari Vajpayee to Manmohan Singh to Narendra Modi. He's seen the world change right in front of him, and he's taken Russia through very turbulent times and yet has cemented his position as a force to reckon with. Thank you so much, President, for doing this with us. You're in conversation with India Today and Aaj Tak. That's the President of the Russian Federation for you.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on our network. How are you doing?
Надеюсь, что и вам у нас в России.
I hope you'll enjoy your stay in Russia.
Москва нравится, Кремль, где мы сейчас с вами работаем.
Hope that you like Moscow and the Kremlin, where we're currently collaborating together.
По плану, в целом мы довольны ситуацией.
As you see, everything is going on as planned. On the whole, we're satisfied with the current economic situation. Most importantly, I'm delighted to be meeting, as you've mentioned, my friend Prime Minister Modi.
Мы давно договаривались увидеться именно в Индии.
We have made a specific arrangement to do so in India because there are numerous topics on which we need to talk, and our collaboration with India spans an extensive array, and of course the unique nature of our relationship adds another layer of significance.
Ну и хотел бы сказать, что и путь, который прошла Индия с момента завоевания.
I also want to highlight that India's progress over the past 77 years since gaining independence, an extremely brief span in historical terms, has been substantial indeed, and India has truly come a long way in development. I will discuss this further below. You know, as we go about our daily lives, we often fail to notice the changes happening right before our eyes. We scarcely ever take note of them. Yet, if you glance even slightly into the past and reflect on what has occurred in India, it's almost like a miracle. For example, few people recognize that life expectancy in India has nearly doubled during this period.
We will talk about longevity in some time from now.
Да, хорошо, поговорим обязательно, но во всяком случае...
We will definitely discuss that. Anyway, our relationship with India is advancing in numerous fields. It's a pleasure to meet Prime Minister Modi again, with whom we have both a professional and a personal, friendly relationship.
И личные отношения, дружеские.
So, may I ask you, you just talked about the Indo-Russian ties, and it dates back to almost more than 7 decades. Dosti in Hindi and Druzhba in Russian. This friendship dates back to more than 7 decades. My question to you is, how do you assess the strength of this friendship in today's time? And what would you say about Prime Minister Narendra Modi and to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, whom you call your dost?
О премьер-министре.
About the Prime Minister.
Yeah?
Ну, вы знаете,
You know, the world is evolving rapidly, and this pace keeps getting faster, which is plainly visible to all.
вот это все видят очень хорошо. Конфигурация.
The global configuration is changing, with new centers of power emerging, and the global power landscape is changing too. Therefore, it's crucial to ensure stability among major nations, since this forms the groundwork for gradual progress in both bilateral and international relations.
Она создает определенную базу, основу.
In this context, our collaborative endeavors with Prime Minister Modi carry significant weight because they transcend our mutual ties.
Работа вместе с премьер-министром Моди имеет очень большое значение.
Given its direct relevance to both nations, ensuring stability in key areas of engagement is crucial, as it helps secure the fulfillment of our objectives.
То стабильность в некоторых отраслях взаимодействия.
Prime Minister Modi sets very challenging tasks for the country, and for himself in the first place, then for the administration, and eventually for the nation.
Ставит перед страной и перед собой прежде всего, потом перед правительством и перед страной.
Take, for example, his famous speech, Make in India. It has a practical dimension, including for our bilateral relations.
В том числе и в двухсторонних наших отношениях. Мы когда встречаемся, он все время...
When we meet, he always says, let's do this, let's do that, let's look at this area and that.
Я готов их так, готов буду.
I can list them all.
Поэтому у нас много, очень много...
Therefore, we have a lot of practical areas of cooperation.
But before Geeta takes on to the next question, one little small, very interesting question, because when you met Prime Minister Narendra Modi in SCO, and there was this picture and video of you and him going in a car, and we're showing it to our viewers right now. You were traveling in a car with him. Was it pre-planned, or how did it go about? How did it happen? And what did you discuss in the car?
Вы знаете, обсуждали текущий вопрос.
We have just gone over the current topics. This wasn't prearranged. We simply stepped out, and my car was waiting. I asked, would you like to come along? That's all there's to it. A gesture of human solidarity, camaraderie, and friendship. No hidden scheme was involved. We climbed into the car like old friends and talked en route. We always have things to discuss. What's more, we continued our conversation and just remained in the car. Eventually, I suggested, let's go. They're already waiting for us. There's nothing special here. It simply indicates that we have matters to discuss, and those matters are very important to us.
Right, President Sir. The fact that you're going to go to India, you just said that both leaders are going to cement the guarantees that you give each other. What are the kind of announcements that we can expect? We've heard about technology transfer, we've heard about trade enhancement. What are the solid announcements during this visit? And I ask you this is because the world, and you know who I mean, would be watching.
Ну, то, что мир будет следить за нашим...
The world would be watching our visit. There is no big deal here.
Индия огромная страна, 1,5 миллиарда.
India is an enormous country, home to 1.5 billion people, boasting a growing economy with a 7% annual growth rate, leading among major global powers. After all, Mr. Modi has made this possible.
Индийский народ.
It's something both the Indian nation and Prime Minister Modi himself can rightfully claim as their achievement. Naturally, there will always be critics who think that improvements could have been more significant, but that's an achievement. We've laid out an ambitious plan for our collaboration in key domains. The most critical areas are indeed forward-looking. I'm referring specifically to high technology. Our partnership with India encompasses such fields as space exploration, energy, notably nuclear power, exemplified by the prominent Kudankulam nuclear power plant project, shipbuilding, and aviation. There are many interesting areas for cooperation that are looking to the future. Take, for example, artificial intelligence. We'll likely discuss it further down the line. AI represents a crucial technology shaping the future, rapidly transforming the world, amplifying possibilities exponentially while simultaneously presenting certain challenges. There are the matters we will discuss, choosing the ones that are the most significant for us, as both Prime Minister Modi and I believe. That's what we will focus on and what we will work on.
Any specific agreements, sir?
Well, of course. However, perhaps we shouldn't reveal them just yet. We will do that during the visit, when we can unveil everything publicly. Then our colleagues will first share with us all the documents they have prepared, and it would require our final approval.
We'll now
Okay.
come to the energy sector, yeah.
Okay, just talking about sustainability and trade. There's immense pressure on India and on Russia when it comes to oil. India has suffered in terms of the kind of pressure that we're seeing from West. How can both countries handle this Western pressure and sanctions?
The issue here is that the pressure you have referred to typically involves employing political instruments to influence normal competition. Our energy cooperation with India remains unaffected by current conditions, fleeting political swings, or indeed the tragic events in Ukraine. Regarding hydrocarbons, well before the Ukrainian situation, our business entities had already built a solid and efficient commercial relationship that is based on mutual trust. It's widely known that one of our leading companies acquired an oil refinery in India. This investment represented one of the largest foreign inflows into the Indian economy, totaling more than $20 billion. Our company has been continuously expanding operations of this refinery, working with its partners, and operating successfully year after year. As a result, India has become one of the major refined product suppliers to Europe, not just because it buys our oil with a discount. It took years to achieve and is in no way connected to the current economic environment. Certain actors clearly dislike India's growing role in international markets owing to its ties with Russia. Consequently, they are seeking means to constrain India's influence for political reasons by imposing artificial obstacles.
Right. Right, President, sir,
That's an important point to make, but my question to you now would be about defense. And India continues to be the biggest defense buyer. Roughly 38% of the market from Russia is bought by India. My question to you, sir, is in view of the sanctions by the US or the tariffs they have laid on India, the arm twisting methods that are being adopted, and I name it's America. How do you plan to circumvent all this? Will you pull back or push harder?
Но мне кажется, что и Индия, весь мир увидели.
It appears that both India and the world recognize that India cannot continue to be treated the way it was treated 77 years ago. India is a major global player, not a British colony, and everyone must accept this reality. Furthermore, Prime Minister Modi is not someone who succumbs to pressure easily. The Indian people can certainly take pride in their leader. This is absolutely obvious. His stance is unwavering and straightforward without being confrontational. Our goal is not to provoke conflict. Rather, we aim to protect our lawful rights. India does the same. What are the obstacles? Obstacles in settlements. However, over 90% of our transactions are already conducted in national currencies. While some complications arise due to the presence of numerous intermediaries, there are also solutions. We can switch to the existing systems for exchanging electronic messages on financial transactions of the Bank of Russia and of our partners in India. These efforts are ongoing and advancing. Those who attempt to hinder economic ties with third countries ultimately encounter difficulties and suffer losses. I am confident that once this perspective becomes firmly established, such tactics of applying external pressure will fade away.
3 specific questions, sir. Number 1, because during Operation Sindoor, the weapons we had acquired from Russia proved very crucial in our victory. And that is why I would like to ask you specifically about S-400, the air defense system, the 5 S-400s that are awaited by when can we expect that? The second question is on S-500, the more advanced air defense system. And the third question, 5th generation fighter jet, Su-57. How are you going to push for this and what's the update, sir?
You seem to be an expert on the issue, as if we're engaged in negotiations on military technical cooperation. If we delve into the substance, India stands out as one of our reliable and privileged partners in this area. We are not merely selling something to India, and India isn't merely buying something from us in the sphere of defense and security. No. It is a different level, a different quality of relations we have with India, and we value this. We see how India values this relationship too. Why? Allow me to emphasize again. We are not simply selling technology, we are sharing it, and it is a very rare thing to see in the sphere of military technical cooperation. It speaks to the level of trust between the two countries and the level of trust between the two peoples, I would put it this way. We have a broad portfolio indeed, including naval construction, rocket and missile engineering, and aircraft engineering. You have just mentioned the Su-57 aircraft. India operates several other Russian-made aircraft too. And there's the production of armored vehicles. India is manufacturing our renowned T-90 tanks. Trust me when I tell you that these tanks rank among the best in the world. Moreover, the famous BrahMos missile, a joint venture between Russia and India, is manufactured primarily at Indian facilities. Therefore, Prime Minister Modi's Make in India initiative should be implemented in this area as well. The Kalashnikov is certainly an important weapon, but we have been discussing high, one might even say cutting-edge technologies. Given the combat experience in using certain types of weapons, their value has multiplied manifold. Now, Indian military specialists, thanks to their strong ties with our military, understand clearly how and in what circumstances a particular weapon performs best, and where and when it should be deployed. This is an extremely important understanding, which is shared by both the Indian and Russian sides.
Right. President, sir, I have to go back to your oil question because you spoke about strategic autonomy, which is what India has been talking about. Strategic autonomy, decide for India's interests. But has India reduced Russian intake of oil after pressure from the West?
Well, there is a certain decline in overall trade turnover during the first 9 months of this year. This is just a minor adjustment.
Торговый оборот у нас находится.
Overall, our trade turnover stands almost at the same level as
Я
before.
сейчас не могу сказать вам точно по цифрам.
I can't give you exact monthly figures right now, but trade in petroleum products and crude oil, as well as the production of petroleum products for consumers of oil, Russian oil, is running smoothly in India.
Российской нефти в Индии идет абсолютно ритмично. Я знаю настроение российских.
I know the sentiment of Russian partners, of Russian companies.
Они считают, что их индийские
They believe their Indian counterparts are reliable and very serious people.
Right. The other important aspect in terms of cooperation between India and Russia is the nuclear front. Russia has been one of the biggest movers when it comes to nuclear facilities in India. Are we looking at important announcements on the nuclear front? Nuclear today is a sensitive issue for Russia.
есть. Есть.
Yes, of course, we have some announcements to make. We are indeed one of the biggest movers, as you have noted.
Как вы сказали, мы не игроки, если по-серьезному говорить. Мы производители.
Speaking seriously, we're not movers. We are producers of the world's most advanced and reliable equipment for nuclear power plants.
Компания Росатом больше всех других компаний мира.
The Russian company Rosatom builds and operates more nuclear reactors for nuclear power plants abroad than any other company in the world. 22 nuclear units.
С вами известная станция, известная.
The well-known facility and our joint project, the Kudankulam plant, is one of the leaders in this regard.
Они эффективно работают и, повторяю,
These are large units. They operate efficiently and, I reiterate, have proven to be very useful.
новости, о которых вы сейчас спросили. А что?
There are some announcements you have just asked about.
Новости заключаются
What
в
is
том,
it
что
about?
Россия единственная, наверное, сейчас страна.
The news is that Russia is probably the only country in the world today capable of building, and actually does build, small nuclear power plants.
Уже работают в России, причем
Such plants are already operational in Russia, and we can make them either floating or ground-based.
на земле. И это очень хороший вариант, который
It's an excellent option for specific regions where big power stations are not needed or where connecting electricity grids between generators and end users isn't feasible.
от объектов генерации до потребителя. А можно в каких-то труднодоступных
These compact nuclear power modules can thus be deployed in isolated and hard-to-access locations.
That's a lot of collaboration and cooperation. You're talking about made in India, make with Russia. How do you think President Trump's going to react to all of this?
Вы знаете, ни я,
You know, neither me nor Prime Minister Modi, despite certain external pressure we face, have ever, and I want to emphasize this, I want you to hear it, approached our collaboration to work against someone. President Trump has his own agenda, his own goals, whereas we focus on ours, not against anyone, but rather aimed at safeguarding our respective interests, India's and Russia's interests. In our dealings, we cause no harm to others, and I believe that leaders from other countries should appreciate this.
President sir, with regard to Mr. Donald Trump, my second question is also about him because recently he also went on to say that if you're buying oil from Russia, you're the one about India, you're the one who's funding the Russia-Ukraine war. How would you characterize Mr. Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America?
вы знаете, я никогда не даю
You know, I never give character assessments about my colleagues,
даже с тем,
neither those I've worked with in the past, nor current leaders of individual states.
отдельное государство. Это
These assessments should be made by citizens who vote for their leader during elections.
лидера в ходе избирательной.
As for India's purchases or purchase of energy resources from Russia, well, I would like to note, and have already mentioned this publicly once, the United States itself still buys nuclear fuel from us for its own nuclear power plants.
Это ведь тоже топливо.
That is also fuel, uranium for the reactors operating in the United States.
Электростанций, работающих в
If the
США.
US has the right to buy our fuel, why shouldn't India have the same privilege?
Должна быть лишена такого права. Это вопрос,
This question deserves
требующий своего
thorough
глубокого
examination,
исследования,
and we stand ready to discuss it,
строить на этот счет
including with President Trump.
But you're being very kind. You're saying you do not characterize Trump, but he certainly does to you. Having said that, he has weaponized tariffs and he's weaponized it against India. Right now you're engaged, but it's a blow hot, blow cold for India. How do you think the two countries should be handling Donald Trump and the US administration?
Вы знаете, он проводит...
You know, he pursues his own policy, and he has advisors. His decisions aren't made out of thin air. He has advisors who believe that implementing such tariff policies, involving the imposition of additional duties on trade partners, ultimately benefits the US economy. He is acting in good faith, I presume. Our experts believe there are risks involved, but it is the choice of each country and its leadership to decide which economic policy to adopt. We have never engaged in such practices. Do not do so now, and have no intention of doing so in the future. Our economy is open. We hope that, in the end, all violations of World Trade Organization regulations will be rectified.
Right. President Sir, things have changed a little between US and Russia. The fact that America is engaging you, we would have loved to be a fly on the wall when you were meeting with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. That was an important meeting. Were there red lines that Russia reiterated? What really happened?
It's premature to discuss that now. I doubt it would interest you to hear about it, as it lasted 5 hours. Frankly, even I grew wary of it. 5 hours is too much.
Да.
Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner.
Да, а я один, представляете, безобразие какое. Вот. Но если говорить серьезно, то она была очень полезной, потому что то, что нам привезли американские коллеги, было основано так или иначе на наших договоренностях до моей встречи с президентом Трампом на Аляске. Мы так или иначе говорили об этих вопросах на встрече в Анкоридже, но все-таки то, что нам привезли американцы сейчас, этого мы пока не видели, и поэтому нам пришлось пройтись практически по каждому пункту, поэтому и это заняло столько времени. Так что это была, это нужная была беседа, абсолютно конкретная и обстоятельная.
Okay, can I ask this question this way, sir? Was there a certain specific point where you disagree? Was there a specific point of disagreement where the versus one was just not going forward?
Да.
Yes, such issues were raised, we discussed them. But this is a complex task and a challenging mission that President Trump took upon himself. Fair enough, I say without irony, because achieving consensus among conflicting parties is no easy task. But President Trump, truly, I believe, he sincerely tries to do this. We went through each point again, let me reiterate this. Sometimes we said, yes, we can discuss this, but with that one we cannot agree. That was how the work proceeded. To say now what exactly doesn't suit us or where we could possibly agree seems premature, since it might disrupt the very mode of operation that President Trump is trying to establish. But that's what they do, shuttle diplomacy. They spoke with Ukrainian representatives, then with Europeans, came here, had another meeting with Ukrainians and Europeans. I think we should engage in this effort rather than obstruct it.
So you're saying the 28-point peace proposal is now not on the table, but there were leaked conversations. It is?
Как раз они и обсуждают.
It is on the table.
Просто они разбили эти 28, потом 27 пунктов на 4 пакета, и предложили обсуждать вот эти 4 пакета. Но по сути это те же самые 27 пунктов.
We'll go back to that and try and understand how it's going forward, sir. But what happened in Alaska? You met President Trump, and it was all about the peace deal, right? What happened? Did anything come out of it? Did you actually see a clear and sincere intent?
Да, да.
Yes, there was indeed a sense.
Даже не просто
No,
ощущение.
more than just a sense.
Сомнений нет, что
I have absolutely no doubt that President Trump had genuine
чем
intentions.
это вызвано. Не будем говорить о том,
We won't discuss here what caused them or why they appeared, but they're definitely present.
у Соединенных
Both the
Штатов
United States and President Trump likely have their own understanding of why this needs to be resolved quickly.
почему это нужно закончить и как
Moreover, by the way, on humanitarian grounds too. I truly believe that is one of the motives behind President Trump's actions regarding this matter, because he constantly speaks about his wish to minimize losses, and I'm confident that his sincerity is genuine. He undoubtedly considers these humanitarian concerns when formulating his decisions. However, other factors also come into play: political considerations and economic interests. Therefore, I believe that the U.S. is actively seeking a solution to this problem.
на поиску этого решения.